This is an ABC News special report. Right now,
Engine start. 2, 1.
6 civilians, including an NFL great, our own Michael Strahan,
I'm excited. I'm ready to go.
and the daughter of a space pioneer, launching to space, returning as astronauts, experiencing the ride of a lifetime.
I've been doing summer shot. Everybody get over there. And the flip.
We're glowing in the dark. We started from the start. We're lights that never go out, like we've never been down.
Blue Origin, liftoff to space with Michael Strahan. Live from Launch Site 1 in West Texas and ABC News in New York City. TJ Holmes and Amy Robach.
And good morning from a beautiful Van Horn, Texas. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this incredibly exciting Saturday morning. The weather is cooperating as we're all here in West Texas to watch history be made here as we mark another exciting chapter in space history. You are looking live at the New Shepard rocket, where our very own Michael Strahan and 5 other civilians are inside. They are about to begin their once-in-a-lifetime journey to the edge of space, and it's all happening in just a few moments from now, TJ.
Yes, and we are minutes away. It's a momentous occasion. It's another chapter in space history. But for me and Robach and all of us here at ABC News, our thoughts are not far away from the folks, of course, in Tennessee, in Arkansas, in Kentucky, as well as Missouri, who experienced those devastating storms overnight. Our thoughts continue to be with you, but we do come on the air here to document something hopeful, to document something that we can all be in awe of, to document something in human achievement. This is going to be the 3rd crewed Blue Origin flight this year, and this is going to be the first one that has 6 people. But this is the first time we're watching this one a little differently around here at ABC News, because we have a loved one, a friend, a brother, not just a colleague that's going to be aboard. Yes, Michael Strahan, Spaceman Stray, as we have been calling him. And Robes, he's going to be our eyes and our ears for this groundbreaking expedition. But it felt a little different to watch a friend of ours just a short time ago go up that tower.
It certainly did, TJ. And, you know, you like to give everyone nicknames, and I really think you might have coined the phrase stray. And we just heard Mission Control say, "Astronaut Stray, do you read me?" And he said, "Astronaut Stray, good, loud and clear." So it's caught on, TJ. And yes, we're just a few moments away from liftoff. We want to let everyone know at home what we're going to expect. The flight is going to last 11 minutes, and that rocket that's right there behind me, if you can see it, will reach 2,234 miles per hour. And the passengers on board, they're going to experience about 3 minutes of weightlessness as they travel roughly 66 miles. And by the way, that is past the Kármán line, which is defined as the edge of outer space at exactly 62 miles. So, TJ, this is incredibly exciting. We are, I can feel my heart pounding. Everyone here is just so excited to see this finally take place. We've been waiting for days for it to happen.
And he actually said, Robes, he had one of the best nights' sleep he's had in a long time, maybe ever, last night. So what was he been up to this morning? We have some video we can show you of how his day kind of started. And it started, he left their training center. He got to say bye to some of his family members who are there. His mom, Louise, there she is among them, before he got in the vehicle. Now, he hopped in a vehicle and took a short drive, about 10 minutes getting out to the launch pad. You can see there who's driving. Yes, Jeff Bezos himself is giving Strahan a lift. There they are. They were leaving. It was a short ride, and we can show you kind of this journey they went on. There it is. There's about a 10-minute ride to get out to where they climbed into the tower. Now, they climbed that tower and then got into the capsule. This is part of the tradition. They all 6 of them went by, rang that bell, letting everybody know they were about to get in that capsule, and there they are, and they have sealed it, so the countdown is on. Now, Robach mentioned a moment ago, and we're going to let you hear it, the first communication that Strahan had with the tower when they were asking Spaceman Stray, Astronaut Stray, how he was doing. Take a listen to this.
Astronaut Stray, how do you read me?
Stray is good. Loud and clear.
Copy.
We do want you to know he's still good. We see this countdown clock right now, Robach, and he has now, they all have, and this is part of the training and safety, 2 minutes and 30 seconds to back out. Not suggesting anybody robotics is going to do that, but they are trained to use a phrase that for whatever reason, and the phrase is, I will not fly. They learned that in their training, so they have up until that last minute, but no indication, Rose, that that's going to happen.
No, I can't imagine Astronaut Stray doing that. So we're fully anticipating everyone to blast off, yes, in T-minus 15 minutes or so. So, yes, and we have, by the way, the amazing Gio Benitez. He has been here in Van Horn at least for the last 5 days, but back and forth for several weeks. And I know we've talked about it all morning. It is electric here in Van Horn as we all wait for this incredible, historic, momentous occasion to be. And there was nothing, I imagine, quite like experiencing a rocket blast off here on Earth.
Yep.
This is my first, by the way.
And listen, the last time someone said that to me, they ended up on a rocket ship on a Saturday morning, and that's what's happening here. But, you know, that's what we're watching. We're watching the weather, but we both saw those weather balloons go up into the air where they're testing the atmosphere just to see if the wind speeds are okay, because that's really the biggest concern, and just to make sure that everything is okay for that liftoff and that landing. But, you know, when Michael was here, and he was watching that spaceship, I saw the awe on his face, the wonder in his eyes. So it really was a pretty incredible. I think that's where he got that space bug.
Just watching them was a moment within itself. You hold your breath from the beginning all the way to the end, the sonic boom when the rocket comes back, to watching the capsule float down to the ground and land. I don't think there's anyone here who is not overwhelmed by the moment. I don't think I have been at a loss for words for a long time in my life, and this is definitely one of those moments.
Yeah, and he described that so beautifully, didn't he?
He did.
He described it, and you saw that, and that was Jeff Bezos. That was when Jeff Bezos launched into space. But, you know, he still was a little unsure about it all. I still felt some hesitation from him. And then he surprised us as we were reporting on the launch for William Shatner. Take a look at this.
I would do it. I've changed my mind.
This is a change.
After being there with Gio, I realized I would probably do it.
Wow.
Let him get a few more test flights.
George and I will be waiting.
Yeah. He said he would probably do it, and then he got called on it.
And then that's when he got that call. That's when he got that call from Blue Origin. But I like that he said a few more test flights. No, you're on the next one, buddy. You're on the next one. And Amy, we're looking at that countdown clock right now. It looks like we are on a hold right now. So it stopped at T-minus 15 minutes. Usually that just means that they may be running ahead of time or behind a little bit. We're going to find out from Blue Origin what that hold is about. But it looks like we've been in that hold now for about 3 minutes.
And this happened before, correct?
This happened in the Jeff Bezos flight. This also happened with the William Shatner flight. There was a slight hold. It wasn't a big deal. They were able to just wait and make sure everybody is in position, ready to go.
I think all the astronauts aboard are okay with that, right? You always, even if like you're on a plane and you're flying somewhere, like we're checking some things, we're making sure everything's okay. Good. Do everything you need to know before liftoff, okay? And TJ, you know, we know that this isn't just your average, ordinary flight, correct?
It's not, of course, but some things do seem average and ordinary to most of us and many of us who fly, right? We got a flight delay, need to check something out, and you get a carry-on. And Stray and all of these astronauts do get a carry-on, if you will. They were all asked what personal items they'd like to take. Now, this is a very small bag, if you will. They were told it could only be about 3 pounds, but they could take some personal possessions. Take a listen to what Stray said he was going to take with him.
But there's a 3-pound weight limit. And my bag and the other passenger's bag, they're already loaded onto the capsule. And when we get back to Earth, each item that we brought on board is going to get a special certificate saying it's traveled to outer space. I am taking my retired Giants jersey, my Hall of Fame ring, my Super Bowl ring, some special watches. And the most special thing to me, when my father passed away and they had his military funeral, the bullets that they fired from the guns, I'm taking those with me to outer space. My dad was a paratrooper. You know, hopefully I'm staying in the ship. He jumped out of planes, but it makes me feel closer to him. So I love my dad, and that's for my pop. Then there's a watch that my mother gave me. Well, I'm going to give it away. She didn't even know this was going to happen, but it's my grandfather's pocket watch, and she gave it to me to get repaired during the Thanksgiving holiday. So she doesn't know. I haven't gotten it repaired yet, but I'm bringing that with me. I'm bringing it with me to space. I had to keep it to bring it with me to space before I can give it back to her after I have it repaired. Or maybe I just won't have it repaired because it's been in space like that. So that's another special thing for me, for my mom.
Okay, so very personal items there to Stray. And you're seeing this image here, and you're looking at the clock as well. We're watching it with you. This was scheduled, this flight is scheduled to take off certainly by now, but they're in a hold. They're in a hold at that 15-minute mark. We haven't gotten the answer yet. I know Gio's looking into it to see what this hold is about. But again, nothing necessarily to be alarmed about. This happened in the previous flights as well, that there was a hold for some reason. So waiting on that clock to get going. And I know many of you may remember Strahan talking to us on GMA earlier this week. Before the initial flight was pushed back a couple of days, he said, we're just ready to go. He said, at this point, let's just go tomorrow. Even when they were in the middle of training, just the waiting and anticipation was driving him crazy. Got moved to Saturday, and now here we are. I wonder what's going through his mind now, certainly, Robach, as he's sitting there now knowing that they're in a hold. But we talked about the items he's going to take. He got another surprise item this week as well from Jeff Bezos. Take a look at this.
We cannot send you, of all people, up into space without a football. And this football, when you bring it back down to earth, is going straight to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Wow, that's cool.
Nice.
They're going to, you know what, they're going to be so excited. I mean, it's going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Hopefully it inspires more people to want to know more and explore more outside of our planet and want to, you know, explore space and everything that we have up there. Even if I fumble this ball, so one of you guys pointed out, if I fumble it, it's just going to float. So,
You like that, Rose? Yes, that
was amazing.
He got an extra item, apparently, though, to take up with him. But you can't go up there without a football if you're a Hall of Famer.
No, I think he did the right thing. And it's going to be so exciting to see how he handles that weightlessness for 3 minutes. I asked him to take a selfie, but I don't think they're allowed to take their phone. So I don't know that that's going to happen. But hey, some good news here. The countdown clock, if you're watching there on your screen, has begun. So the hold has been lifted. We're at T-minus 14 or so right now as we're awaiting the exciting event that should be happening just moments from now. So as we're watching the clock, you know, this isn't something that Michael just woke up and said, hey, let's do this, even though it kind of felt like it. He's been in intense training from for the last few weeks, in fact. So he had to go through this week just to get on board this flight. Take a look at Michael's journey to space.
Michael's preparations began a few weeks ago with getting fitted for his flight suit.
There. Thank you.
And since he clocks in at 6'5",
this is our New Shepard astronaut seat.
Blue Origin had him test out the flight seat.
Oh, this is comfortable.
Let's measure a couple of things. We didn't design for folks with your shoulders.
Give me your zero G.
I began my first day of training in Astronaut Village.
Good morning.
Where I met up with crew member 7, Sarah Knights, and we were given the first ever look inside the Kármán line, a gathering spot for Blue Origin astronauts and their plus ones, meant to resemble a restaurant that the Apollo and Mercury 7 astronauts would hang out in after missions.
Go ahead and have a seat.
Since this is an active launch and test site, I needed a full safety briefing.
So we want to make sure that you understand what's going on out there and keep you safe. If you feel unsafe or uncomfortable, that we will get you out of the situation. We want you to say timeout.
That only applies here. I can't take that home with me.
The other phrase is, I will not fly. This is a phrase we hope to never hear from the New Shepard astronaut, but we will take it very seriously.
I have until T-minus 2 minutes and 30 seconds before liftoff to utter these crucial words. After that, the vehicle controlled itself, so it's risky to stop the program. Now I am officially certified.
Michael Strahan, it is my great pleasure to give you your astronaut badge.
As the most professional looking astronaut ever in a business suit and tie.
It makes it official.
Long day today. We trained from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. It's been a lot of fun, a great learning experience, and I'm a little nervous. I mean, you always get nervous, but when you learn about the safety and all the protocol that put you at ease. Next, I posed for my official Blue Origin portrait. Then it was time for some hands-on training with Kevin Spro.
You want to come in with me?
It was surreal stepping inside the test capsule for the very first time with my fellow crew members.
Day 2 of training for Michael began with a full run-through of launch morning at the tower. 80 feet above the desert, 7 flights of stairs.
Good morning, astronauts. Welcome to your emergency safety shelter.
Inside the safety shelter, properly named since it's the most secure place on the tower.
This is the place you're going to go if anything goes wrong on the tower before we launch. you're never going to go downstairs. So the only places you go is either in the capsule or in this room.
Safety of the Blue Origin astronauts is exceedingly important, so they have equipped the shelter with emergency air supply, direct radio access to mission control, and safety ratings to withstand explosions.
The entire booster can explode and you'll be in here and be safe.
And outside the shelter, Michael and his crewmates practice crossing the bridge to the tower where they will load into the capsule. On the way, a Blue Origin tradition, ringing the bell. At the crew access tower, a quick explainer.
You have to go in the capsule. You're going to go left around the end, into your seat, and then immediately start buckling in.
Michael taking it all in.
It's a beautiful view up here between the mountains. The closer we get, the more of these things that we do, where we're on the launch tower and walking across the bridge, ringing the bell, the more you know that this is the reality. So, very excited.
Back at the Astronaut Training Center, the day ended working inside the test capsule. With 3 to 4 minutes in space at zero gravity, the Blue Origin astronauts need to be masters at rolling in and out of their seats.
You ready to try this, Michael?
Yep.
All right, here you go. You're clear to egress. Here you go. You loosen up, feet out, pop the harness, and then float out.
Oh, this was somersault. Everybody, get over there.
It is getting real. T-minus 9 minutes or so. This is happening after a couple days of delay, but it was actually a good thing. I know that Michael got to spend some extra time with friends and family. He got a little refresher training yesterday, so we know he's ready to go, TJ. And he has 5 fellow astronauts on board with him as well.
Yes, they are all sitting there now at T-minus 9 minutes, as you see on that clock. But the rest of the team on board, as you mentioned there, Robach, joining Michael. We have what's going to be the first parent-child duo to go to space. Lane Bess and Cameron Bess. Lane, a tech billionaire, but they're going to be heading up together. Also, Evan Dick, an investor and software engineer, also on board. Dylan Taylor, a businessman, the founder of the global nonprofit Space for Humanity. And then, of course, Laura Shepard Churchley, the eldest daughter of the first American in space, Alan Shepard. That was 60 years ago this year, Robot. Can you believe that he was the first American in space? And also, Alan Shepard famously was also walked on the moon and then played golf on the moon. A lot of people will remember, Robot.
Yes, it's always good to remember that. And yes, they are all suited up and ready to go on those Blue Origin spacesuits. It's a very special patch. NASA astronauts have been wearing mission patches since 1965. Take a look at that patch. It has all of the passengers' faces on it. It's pretty cool. There's a special nod to legendary astronaut you just mentioned, Alan Shepard, of course, yes, the first American to travel into space, and pays homage to Glenn DeVries, the entrepreneur who launched into space on a Blue Origin flight back in October and then unfortunately tragically passed away in a small plane crash in New Jersey just a few weeks ago. So our condolences to his family as well. Now, as we see the patch you're looking at, it has the faces of Michael and the other 5 passengers on board as well. Those 6 faces represent the first flight with 6 astronauts on board. Each astronaut is represented with a star right near their name, and you'll see Cameron and Lane Bess, you just mentioned, have 2 stars near their names to represent the first parent-child pair to go to space together. So much history being made here today, TJ. And
so much of that history, it's really incredible that Laura Shepard Churchley is aboard. Her dad, Alan Shepard, the first American in space back in 1961. We've had a chance to chat with her as all this has been going on. And Stray himself, he asked her what she might hear from her dad if he was still around.
I would say that Blue Origin was going to put me in a spacecraft, and they're going to put the spacecraft on top of a rocket. They're going to blast me up into space, and I'll come back to Earth safely. That's exactly what Daddy said to us. So he would be sitting there on the sofa listening to me. He would stand up, come over to me, give me a big hug and a kiss, and he would say, "Go for it, Laura."
That was wonderful to hear her excitement. It's been great to hear from her. I want to go back to Gio now because, Gio, we just hit a very critical moment in this countdown. We are still T-minus 6 minutes, but go, no go.
This is the very exciting moment where they pull the room at Mission Control and they actually say, okay, is it a go or is it no go? And they said go. So right now at T-minus 6 minutes or just under 6 minutes, we are a go for launch. And it gets very exciting. The next 5 minutes, Amy, I can't wait to see how you're going to be looking at this. And I am sure that you're going to have that same look of awe and wonder that Michael had that day.
Yeah, I've only seen it on television, and so we're actually, you say, much closer than we've ever been before, correct?
Yeah, so usually we're about 3 miles away. In this case, we're about 1.5 miles away. We are much, much closer. So I bet that we're going to really feel that rumble, and we're going to hear those.
We're going to feel the rumble, not just hear it, we're going to feel it.
Oh, you are going to feel it, and it's going to sort of roll through here, and you're going to feel it hit you. It's going to be very interesting.
You jealous, TJ?
You all are going to hear and feel it, and they are about to experience it. It's an 11-minute trip, but it is going to be an exhilarating one. So exactly what are they going through in that 11 minutes? Check it out. At liftoff, the New Shepard rocket speeds passengers towards space, producing 110,000 pounds of thrust, propelling all on board through Earth's atmosphere. 2 minutes after launch, the New Shepard reaches Mach 3. Astronauts on board will feel a pressure 3 times the force of Earth's gravity. A minute later, the main engine of New Shepard cuts off, also known as MECO, or main engine cutoff, and the capsule carrying the passengers separates from the rocket. It is at this moment that the astronauts can unbuckle and experience weightlessness. 4 minutes into the mission, the crew capsule reaches apogee, the highest point in the flight, as the capsule speed slows to 0 miles per hour. Now, both the capsule and the New Shepard rocket separately make their controlled descent back to Earth. New Shepard is more aerodynamic and will reach the Earth before the capsule. 6 minutes in, and the astronauts buckle back in preparation for the capsule to re-enter Earth's atmosphere. Moments before the New Shepard rocket lands, the engine reignites the rocket, makes a pinpoint vertical touchdown so it can be reused for future flights. 9 minutes after launch, the parachutes deploy from the capsule. They will bring the speed of the capsule down to 16 miles per hour as it drifts back to Earth. To slow the capsule's impact further, seconds before landing, the retro thrust system kicks on, releasing an air cushion resulting in a dust cloud once on the ground. The astronauts wait as recovery teams speed to meet them. Unbelievable. You all, we are T-minus. We are 3.5 minutes away. Oh, my goodness. Our colleague is in that capsule right now about to head to space. My goodness. We do have Katie Coleman is here with us, a former astronaut, ABC News contributor, and astrophysicist Dr. Hakeem Olasheyi, both here with us. We only have a short time here. Katie, let me just ask you, we talk about these numbers, 2,200 miles an hour, Mach 3 and all this, but put this in layman's terms for us. What's Stray and the rest of it? What does that feel like?
When those engines light right underneath them, it's not something sudden like leaping off the pad. It's this like huge, amazing, astonishing force and you can just tell it is relentless, and you are just not going to stop until that engine cuts off, and that's when they're in space.
Oh my goodness. Robach and Gio, as we get close here and count down, because we do want to listen, we want to be able to take all of this in. I'm going to come back out to you all as we lead into these final thoughts before we see our colleague take off. And Robach, this is, yes, we are covering an event, but this is a friend of ours that's about to go up. And you were one who, when you first found out, I was in the office with you, and you were almost in tears just thinking about him being aboard, because this is special. There is a risk here. It's exciting, but we got a colleague about to go to space.
You know, I actually got teary-eyed just hearing you say that, and you know I'm not a crier. Yeah. But this is a guy who we all love and admire, and you know, he's, I would say, sometimes risk-averse. He makes fun of me all the time, like, why are you hanging off a mountain? What are you doing? And look at him now. Look at Michael Strahan going to space. It is awe-inspiring. I told him, you inspire me. I'm so excited to see this, and I'm nervous. My heart is pounding.
And you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that right up through launch as you're watching this go up, no doubt about it, because it's also something where you have anxiety, but you also are looking at it and saying, wow, this is so inspiring. So let's go ahead and listen in here at 1:30 away.
We have our bit checks that'll be coming up next. All right, there we go with the aft fins. buttons down here at the base of the rocket. They help to direct the vehicle on ascent and descent, so commanding a profile there and making sure that it's tracking.
Folks, you are watching now as we are under a minute from the third crewed Blue Origin launch, but aboard this one happens to be one Michael Strahan. And we will continue to listen to the tower here as they take off on this 11-minute round trip.
The engine will help to
journey to
maneuver
space.
the rocket as well, especially right there before landing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are 30 seconds. It is time to launch
This shot happens
this
to give us a
rocket.
view of Stray on the
New
left there.
Shepard,
You can see him in the window.
The original six. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh my goodness.
When it's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, command engine start, 2, 1.
Mission Control has confirmed New Shepard has cleared the tower and is on its way to space. We can hear it here from the desk. If you're following along with us, you can see on the lower left side of your screen that we're gaining speed as New Shepard lifts off towards space with a full capsule of 6 humans for the very first time. Noticing that altitude bar also on the bottom of screen, we are climbing fast.
Look at that. Look at that.
You're going to follow them all the way up.
Wow. That is
We punch through max Q. That is the point where the aerodynamic stress on the New Shepard booster is at its maximum. Our original 6 are getting the ride of their lives right now. Look at that beautiful BE-3 engine in action.
I'm actually shaking.
Coming up next here in under a minute is going to be main engine cutoff, where we cut off that BE-3, and you'll be able to visually see that on the screen here shortly. And there we see it, main engine cutoff of the BE-3.
Katie, explain to us what we just heard there, that main engine cutoff and where we are in this flight now.
So that is the engine that's been powering them up to space, and it's gotten them to Mach 3, and they are still continuing up, but the engine is no longer powering them. They're going to separate that booster, and then the capsule's going to be by itself on that arc, that sort of 3-minute arc, the highest altitude, probably about 350,000 miles, and then arcing and then coming back down for a landing. So they are weightless now.
They are in 0G. They've practiced for this, and now it's really happening.
We're doing this, guys. Oh, check this out. Oh, my God.
You all there are going to get 3 minutes of this. We're going to let you listen, but we are hearing them now float around.
Oh, my God.
TJ, you can hear Michael too, right? I could hear him say woohoo.
Can't miss it.
Oh, my.
Never seen anything like this.
I got my dad.
Mission 19. All right. Yeah. Make sure you know where your speed is. Mission 19. The original deck. The original deck. You got your teeth.
1 minute warning. 1 minute warning.
Well, huge congratulations to all 6 crew. They have crossed that Kármán line and they became official astronauts. Outstanding. As you can see, we have 2 distinct vehicles in the screen now. Both the crew capsule and the booster are descending. It was so amazing to hear from such an excited crew.
I just love hearing their real reactions, real time. It is just awesome.
That energy walking up the tower definitely translated into space.
They see it? Oh, there it is. Oh my goodness.
That's the booster, and we're going to hear the sonic boom.
We're watching him come down right now. Amazing.
As you can see, the forward fins on the New Shepard booster have deployed. That booster is on its way back to Earth first.
Because like that's coming down so fast. I was like, what?
And Robot Geo, we can hear you. And tell us what you're seeing. You all said you were closer than you all have been in the previous launches. Can you tell us what you're seeing there, just from your naked eye?
Yeah. So the booster is about to land right behind us here on the landing pad, and it's going to land upright on its own, and we're going to hear that sonic boom in a moment here.
And we're going to feel the sonic boom, you say, too.
It.
All right, it's about to make landfall right now. It was coming down pretty quickly. I'm glad to know that was just the booster.
That's the booster.
Because I was like, if that's them, they're coming in hot. No, that's
we
the
need
booster.
parachutes for that.
Robot, don't do us.
Boom. Whoa.
All right, so the booster has landed, and now we're going to wait for the capsule to come down. You're watching a little bit of a delay there, but you're going to see it on your screen in just a moment as it lands upright on that landing pad.
You can hear everyone cheering. One of my favorite parts, it was cutting in out a little bit. You can imagine they're in space, but the laughter, wow, you hear that.
Yeah.
Whoa, just roaring through this desert right now.
Engine restart.
And that's what's amazing. You can feel that power. Okay, so here it is. The video's showing as it lands. Look how incredible this is.
Wow. Hear that? Feel that for sure. That beautiful booster hover.
Yes, this is the booster. This is not Strahan yet and crew. This is the booster.
Welcome back, New
wait,
Shepard.
Are we seeing it now?
So we're looking, TJ, we're looking in the sky here, trying to see where the capsule is. Are we seeing it already?
We don't have the
there it
imagery.
is right there.
Okay.
Wait, let me see. Let me see.
There we go.
I don't see it yet.
Third human
Oh, there
flight.
it is.
There it is.
Just
There it
landed
is.
the
It looks
booster.
like that
The show
first
is
parachute
not
just
over. Here we see our crew
deployed,
capsule
right?
on
Yeah,
final
so we've got
descent
that-
back to the West Texas desert. Let's
We're
wait
going
for
to listen
that
to mission
now.
control here, but we're watching as they land here.
There it is. There's the parachute. Some cheers from people watching down below. Wow. The cars are racing out now to meet
Yep.
the
Look
crew.
at that
You can
booster
see
on
them.
the pad, all in a day's work for the workhorse of this operation.
All right, and there go the drogue parachutes. That's a beautiful sight, slowing down the capsule. And there we go, the drogues lifting out the main parachutes. Looks like we have 3 beautiful parachutes there in their reef configuration. And the release, the disreef, there we go. 3 beautiful main parachutes.
And on your screen, you're seeing that velocity and altitude dropping.
And you could see that number there, 15 miles per hour. Eventually, it's going to slow down to 5 miles per hour.
Pretty remarkable.
So while
It's
these
remarkable,
parachutes
and by
are
the time-
obviously essential in providing a gentle touchdown for the crew capsule,
Yeah.
New Shepard also has an innovative retro thrust system. So that's on the bottom of the capsule, and that will make touchdown even smoother for the astronauts flying today.
And that system there, that's why you're going to see that dust as it lands, because it just pushes that dirt there, and it lands at like
It's
1
a
mile
cushion.
per hour.
It's
It really
it's
is.
incredible. There it is.
Oh my God! I see our shadow actually.
It is just beautiful to watch. You can hear people already cheering here.
We can hear
This is so
audio
exciting.
from a very excited crew on their way back to Earth. What a beautiful day in West Texas.
What a great view through those big windows there.
Stand by touchdown. Stand by touchdown.
So keep in mind here, there we go. Retro
Oh, my
thrust
goodness.
And touchdown. All right, that is cheering
It was great.
Wow.
To see all the friends and family down below, TJ, watching the crew come down was such a special experience because, you know, you could hear the cheering. And when we heard the astronauts laughing with weightlessness, you could hear everyone around here laughing with them, sharing the joy, so excited that they got to have that perfect 11 minutes. It seems as though it was perfect. Everything went just according to plan.
And I heard your sigh of relief. When that landing happened, I heard it. But it really looks like a clean operation at this point, and we're going to wait as they actually exit that capsule and meet some of their family members and their friends, and of course, we believe Jeff Bezos is probably there as well.
We believe that is the truth. TJ, what was it like watching for you?
You know what? I don't know if they have an ISO camera on me during my reactions, but it's anxiety-inducing. It's very exciting, but I feel a lot better to see that thing there on the ground where it's supposed to be. And look, the parachutes were out, and this is why it had to be delayed, right? We talked about some of those winds, but it was a very particular area where it needs to land, and there was concern about some of those winds throwing it off course when it's coming back down, actually, in those parachutes picking up that wind and being tossed around. So this was it had to be very precise, as we know. And again, we talk about 11-minute flight. This one took about 10 minutes and 15 seconds. They have this, forget my phrase, but they have this down to a science, certainly at this point. And those vehicles are racing out to meet them. We do expect Bezos. He'll go around to each window, get a thumbs up, make sure everybody's okay. You all can see this image. If we could take that one full, we see some thumbs up being given already from some of the folks in there. And there is Stray. It's kind of hard to miss him. But there he is in there. There he is right there. He looks pretty good, guys. He looks pretty calm and cool. But we have the sound again. We're going to keep our eye on this. But we want folks to listen to that moment that you all were talking about. That moment when they were weightless and they sounded like kids who just went and arrived at a birthday party. Take a listen to this.
We're doing this, guys. Oh, check this out. Oh my God. I got a ball here.
What do you say, Gio, Robot, what do you say there? Can you imagine they've been training for this? They finally get to that moment of weightlessness. They only got about 3 minutes of it. And then, Gio, I'll ask you about this. This was the first time I had heard this in one of these flights before that we covered. But there was a voice that came on a warning that essentially said 1 minute to buckle back in. I hadn't heard that before, but that was letting them know, hey, it's time to go.
Yeah, and it's an incredibly difficult thing, and the first time that Stray actually did this, because he trained for it here on the ground, but obviously we have gravity on the ground. It's a very different thing doing it in zero gravity, and that's why they kept training for so many days. So when you hear that voice saying 1 minute, it's time to get back in that seat and to prepare to go down, because you still feel the G-force. I was wondering, I was talking to some of the astronauts who went up there, and I said, well, what do you feel when you're coming down? Is it like the Tower of Terror ride or something?
Free falling out.
And it's not. You feel the G-force hitting you again as you're going down. It's the whole science thing, TJ. That whole science thing. And that's what happened. So it's incredible that we could even do this, isn't it?
It's remarkable to see civilians in space and what it means for space travel in the future, and that we might, and we do have officially, I guess, a space tourism industry right now. And having someone like Michael Strahan be out there and facing, I think, a lot of fears that most people wouldn't be willing to do, but his courage, I think, will have a huge impact on this industry.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And by the way, this crew, including Michael, they will be the last Americans to officially receive those commercial space astronaut wings from the FAA. After that, because we're going to start seeing so many launches, the FAA decided to stop that program. So this is it. They are the last Americans to receive those astronaut wings from the FAA, and it's just incredible, at least on the commercial space side.
Yeah, it certainly is, as we watch those vehicles race to the capsule to open that hatch door. Eventually, at some point, we think Bezos is going to be doing it, and Strahan, we're told, might be the first one out, so we're looking forward to seeing those images come to us. In the meantime, though, Hakeem Oluseyi, we want to bring you in because I just talked about what something like this, people see this and they say, you know, why? Talk a little bit about what something like this, and watching this incredible historic event take place, watching someone like Michael Strahan go up to space for the first time. What does this mean for space travel, for space tourism? Why is this important?
Well, you know what? It's beyond space travel and space tourism. What we're talking about here is actually the health of our science and engineering as a country and as a nation. And I tell you, one word jumped out to me throughout this, and that word is family. And so one of the things that happens when people go to space, people like Katie, people now like Michael Strahan, is that they realize that we're all one big human family. They realize the fragility of our planet, of our atmosphere. But you know what? Our scientific and engineering knowledge is also fragile. And stuff like this gets a whole new generation excited, gets a whole new generation engaged, and we can keep it coming. Keep it coming. Humans are dope, but they're especially dope when they're well-educated and well-trained.
Hey, Hakeem, it strikes me because people always ask, you know, why is this important? Why should we be doing this? But a lot of research institutions and universities, they're now able to use this technology and conduct research in zero gravity. And that is a huge step, right?
Oh, it absolutely is. I myself do space research, and so having another pathway to have access, it doesn't mean that you're going to have billionaires and you're going to have celebrities, but you're actually going to have students around the country that are building things and now are able to deploy them in space and get that sense of accomplishment and actually see what they're able to do. And that's the thing about being a scientist and an engineer. And I got to give the shout out to the engineers, right? They're the ones who make this happen. We keep saying science, but the engineers are super important, if not the most important for something like this. But it is vitally important that we stay at these frontiers, because that's where innovation lies, that's where our inspiration lies, and we are keeping it moving.
Out there waiting to greet the
Looks
newest
like
astronauts, and you see the blue stairs are up, just waiting to open that hatch.
And as we're waiting for that hatch door to open, we do believe that astronaut Stray will be the first one to walk out, but we'll have to wait and see. I know that when I was talking to Stray about this last week, he said, you know what I can't wait for? To give everyone a big hug when I'm back on terra firma. So I can't wait to see him when he walks out with that big smile. And I think he'll probably be ready for some big hugs here coming up very soon. I'm told I'm going to get to go out and greet him in a short while. We cannot wait to see what he has to say, what it was like, what it felt like, if he'd go back up. I have so many questions, TJ.
And there he is. To our audience, if you're watching this, we are just a few minutes past the landing. Stray and crew are back on the ground. You can see there with the baseball cap. It's kind of hard to miss him there, but that's Jeff Bezos who's made his way out. Family and friends are going to be gathered and collected there to greet their loved ones. But they have to go through and do some checks. They don't just get out there and pull the door open. They did go to every single one of those large windows and get a thumbs up from everybody, let them know it's okay. They need to stabilize this capsule and get it where and get it solid. And you see they have those the steps there as well, so they can't just hop up and get out. So that is the part that we are waiting on, and we can't wait. I think all of us, we saw him go in to that capsule, we saw him climb that tower, we saw him ring that bell, and we're all kind of just waiting. And you can see from the image here and where this camera is shooting, yes, of course, that's Strahan. It's hard to miss him, but he's still strapped in, assume what he's supposed to be doing. He's told not to get up yet. He's following instructions. He does that well. But you can see him through that window. But we cannot wait for that door to open and for us to finally see Cuz Lightyear back on Earth after his trip to space. Guys, this is just that moment. And we are told he is going to get out first. And you saw this on the other ones as well. And Gio, I want you to give a little better explanation than I just did. Why it's taking a moment, why they can't just throw open that door and let everybody out.
Yeah, I mean, they want to make sure that everything is safe in that spaceship, no doubt about it, because at the end of the day, yes, we're seeing this, it was clean and smooth, but they want to keep everybody safe, and that really is the goal here. There is so much testing. This is now the 19th time that a New Shepard has flown. This is only the 3rd time that it's flown with people on board, but the 19th time. So that tells you how much they've been preparing for this, how much research they were doing, how many test flights they were doing to make sure that this was safe. And that's what we're seeing right now. And all the engineers are surrounding that to make sure everything is safe before they open those doors.
The engineers surrounding the capsule, and then you see all those cars, and I don't know if you can see all the people lined up too, but those are all the friends and family members who were watching with much more bated breath, I think, than we were, probably waiting for their loved ones to come out.
Here we go.
And here we go.
Welcome back, guys.
And Michael Strahan is out of the capsule. Big hug for our founder, Jeff Bezos, followed by Laura Shepard Churchley, Dylan Taylor, Lane Bess, Cameron Bess, and last but certainly not least, Evan Dick. Welcome back, the original 6.
Oh, that is so beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
oh my goodness.
I was telling her I always get emotional when we see these launches, but this moment there, because it's about people and family, and that's just a really moving moment right there.
It certainly was.
Yeah.
I know Strahan's mama was there. So much of his family and friends there too, and those big hugs. Those were those big hugs I was waiting for. But you could just see the relief, the excitement. I mean, just the cheer when they walked out. It just gives you goosebumps.
Yeah. And you all talk to you all's point here, and we watched this one a lot differently. I was very excited to see William Shatner go to space. I was very excited to see Jeff Bezos go to space. I love them and I know them from afar, but those are my boys. This is our guy. So let's listen in. We still have this camera here. Let's listen to some of this interaction with these with the family and the new astronauts. And then as soon as I wanted to listen, they stopped talking. Here we go.
Hey, Evan, we're going to come this way for you.
It was dark. Could you see the...
round.
Okay, Kyrie Irving.
Is it round?
You know, the
Flat Earther.
When you're going up and you're going, okay, it's getting dark, and you realize you're going to be in the darkness. You're not going to be in the light. You're going to be looking at the light in the dark.
Yeah.
It's like a... It's unreal.
I get it.
You gotta go.
You said, like, when you said you wouldn't go, and I was like, I'm not going till I'm 90, I want to go.
Yeah, you see it.
I'm like,
I'm telling you.
I get it.
And I told them in the capsule, I said, you guys have experienced it this way. You got to come back and experience the launch and watch. the rocket land, just to get that perspective from it, because that's what really picture.
Was it what you expected?
I visualize. I don't watch the videos. Don't watch the videos.
Same thing. I had the same
That's
feeling.
what every astronaut says.
I want to go back.
I want to go back. The space station next.
These guys are like, it's great and all. It's great. More people are going to be drawn to it. I said, no, it's going to be hard for you guys to get another ticket. That's the catch.
You got to pay for the next one.
Yeah, I'm in.
Love seeing this crew embracing family and friends, and we're getting some awesome snippets of their experience.
I tell you, that's a good idea.
Stray, I don't know who he is anymore because we just heard him say he wants to go back.
He wants to go back. He said, I'm in again. That got him in trouble the first time. And you hear him recruiting future astronauts there too?
Really?
And he talked about the light and the darkness.
Look like at 85.
Hi to the viewers at home.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
Welcome home.
Thank you. And you were always there for me.
I love that. And Laura yells, "Let me light this candle."
I practiced it every time we went into
It's like, oh man. You got something to talk about on the golf course now, don't you? Yeah. How good is that?
Oh my goodness.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy with both you guys.
Well, they were my boys.
Yeah.
When I had to take that test.
Yeah.
So I'd look at one and I'd go 1, 2, or 3. And then, I don't know. I don't think 1, and I don't think 3. Oh, okay.
Okay. You all let us take a moment and not let this moment get lost on us. You just saw Laura Shepard Churchley hug Michael Strahan, the daughter of the first American to ever go into space. Just went to space with an NFL Hall of Famer and broadcaster. This is how far we have come in our journey in space exploration, travel, innovation, that she and Strahan can end up on the same ship, same capsule, going to space now, coming from these two different backgrounds, two different journeys, that now it's making it possible for someone like Strahan and others to go through a week of training and still be able to explore, still be able to go to space. And Laura Shepard Churchley, with that background and that history. And she is the daughter, yes, of Alan Shepard, but she has been very engaged in the space community, in space education for decades herself in her life. You all, it is really, really incredible. Gio, especially, I know you follow this closely, and Robach as well. This is a friend of ours, but just that moment, to see that, to see how far we've come, to see that that moment is possible now, that these two could end up in space together.
And TJ, I'll give you another level to this. She actually flew almost the exact same flight profile as her father did. Her father's flight was almost in the exact same pattern. It was just about 15 minutes long. This one was about 11 minutes long, but it was exactly the same. And so when she sees her father's picture, she always says, "Daddy, Daddy." She always reacts that way, TJ. I know she did that in your interview on GMA earlier this week. And that's what she was feeling, I'm sure, as she was flying in that capsule in that same flight profile.
And Robot, when are you? What's the plan now? When are you going to be able to possibly ask him all those questions you want to ask him?
Yeah, no, not go to space.
Okay.
Go to Michael Strahan. I'm happy to do that. I'll go that far. So we're hoping within the next hour or so, I'm going to take a shuttle out. I'm actually going to get to talk to Michael and all the other crew members as well to really get to hear what it was like. I love listening, though, to him talk about how it was unreal. And you mentioned the light versus the dark. And there he is getting his official wings. And I don't know, TJ, I'm wondering if we have to refer to him now. You know, once you're a senator, you're always a senator. Do we have to call him Astronaut Stray now? Can we call him Strahan? Can we call him Michael? These will be part of the questions I'll be asking him, just how to refer to him in the future, just because I want to make sure he gets his due. No, but we're going to have a lot of fun really getting the details of what those 11 minutes were like. I'm sure it was something that is going to be hard to describe. That's all I can imagine, because you want to say the cliche, it was out of this world, but like truly it was out of this world in every sense. So we're looking forward to that, and we'll make sure we bring it to everybody in just a bit.
Well, I'll ask you the question.
Yes.
Would you go?
That's a maybe for me. I'm not going to do what Strahan did. No, I'm not going to say yes for sure. You know what? It was awe-inspiring, and I am a bit of a risk taker and a daredevil, and it is enticing when you see the reaction from the crew there. Every one of them not only was excited and thrilled, but I bet you all of them are going to tell me just what we heard Michael say, that they'd go back.
And TJ, it inspires people when they see that view, and every astronaut will tell you this, when they see that view of Earth, they see this planet and how fragile it is, that thin atmosphere, how fragile it is, and they are more inspired to protect the planet in any way they can.
And I still have Katie and Hakeem with me here. Katie, I want to ask both of you all something here. As far as we continue, Katie, these have been exciting to watch and fun to watch, and they get a lot of news coverage. But to continue the direction we want to go, not just with exploration, but in terms of space tourism, where do we go from here? Do we always need to have big events with big names, historical names even on them? I guess what's next in our evolution and our expansion of space tourism?
Well, you know, I think you saw, I mean, how important it was to you to see Michael launch. And actually, TJ, I was watching you during the launch. And, you know, there's something so human about it. It's hard, right? And yet, every one of these people in this capsule is a different jigsaw puzzle piece of the big picture. Dylan Taylor is a space entrepreneur that has really got a visionary company and also started the organization, the Commercial Spaceflight Federation, that brought all these people together. So, you know, Laura is the daughter of Alan Shepard. Oh, look at those guys. You know, there's something about this trip you can never undo, which is really fascinating to me. I mean, they are the first six-person crew, but just the fact that they did this very hard thing together, they'll always have something special between them.
Dr. Oluseyi, I'm bringing you back in here on that same question. Where do we go now? Do we need more big names? Do we need more of these big events? Where do we go with space tourism now?
Well, you know, space tourism, science, engineering, they all advance incrementally. And I think that what Blue Origin is doing is really quite genius from a marketing perspective. By putting these big names up, by having these launches so frequently, it's keeping it in the public's mind, and it's actually making an event out of it. And so because people can participate like we have, it's humanized space access unlike it's been humanized before. SpaceX has been doing wonderful things, and you know, if you're an investor, you've loved them, right? But you didn't get that same human element. Now we have that, and that's what really makes it tangible. That's what makes people aspire to do it. And you know, as it happens more and more and more, it'll become more and more accessible.
Gio, let me bring you in for a final thought as we watch the crew still out there, gathered with, I say the crew, the astronauts now, still gathered with many of their friends and family. They're going to hop in those vehicles in a short time. But Gio, your final thoughts on watching this one, maybe compared to the first two you watched there, and maybe some of the thoughts you heard from Dr. Oluseyi and Katie, really about where we go from here.
Look, I've been lucky enough to see so many launches. SpaceX, we've been seeing the Virgin Galactic, and now, of course, Blue Origin. But it's so special, TJ, like you were saying, like Amy were saying. This was a friend. This is the first time that a friend was going up there, and that was just wild. And I told Michael, I said, listen, I'm going to be asking you a million questions after this, a million questions, and your phone's not going to stop with the text messages, because it's just so special that now we are going to be able to hear from him directly what it is that he experienced and what inspired him when he was up there. But I'm just so inspired. I mean, we're seeing on the screen, at the bottom of our screen, it says Blue Origin's New Shepard. It's called New Shepard to honor Alan Shepard, how far we have come since then. And it's not just about going to the edge of the atmosphere. This is about eventually going farther and farther into space and exploring and seeing what science can come from this, what kind of research can come from this.
Well, I know, Gio, you would be the first to take the next launch up.
I would definitely be in.
I'm not surprised by that. I just want to say, too, because this was the first launch I ever witnessed, to see the power and just the brilliance and like the engineers we were hearing so much about to make this all possible and safe and magical and exciting and where we go from here, you know, it's so exciting to see it all take place right over there. And I mean, I just was in awe of the majesty of what I was looking at, and I can't imagine what it was like up in that capsule, just seeing the power and the force from here, feeling the force, hearing the sonic boom. I have a lot of questions. You can give me. I'm happy to ask them for you too, because I know Michael's going to have a lot to say and a lot to share.
I hate to tell you this.
What?
You sound like Michael the first time.
No.
You sound like Michael the first time. So someone's got the space bug. I think we're going to watch a few launches together after this.
I'm happy to watch launches at any point, yes.
You talked about questions, but Rose, what's your first one to Strahan when you see him?
How do you feel? I mean, it's the obvious one, right? I mean, like, it's just one of those things where, does he feel different? Is he changed? I want to know what it did. What did those 11 minutes mean to him and do to him? And what's he going to do with those 11 minutes going forward? How is that going to affect the rest of his life? Because I really do think this is a life-changing experience. It has to be.
Without a doubt. And, you know, it's going to be so interesting to see the images from inside that capsule, because we will be getting the video back as the capsule goes up and as it's in space and as he's in that weightless environment.
And to our viewers, you're seeing still that live picture, but they are still out there taking it all in. They got back just a short time ago. The 6-member crew of that New Shepard rocket back on Earth. Among that crew, one Michael Strahan, our colleague, our friend, our brother, our loved one, was aboard and completed that mission. And we've been talking about, Gio, you were there with him, saying he got the bug. I cannot repeat some of the words he had for me when I covered this story on Good Morning America and said to them in the commercial break, would you all go? And he was adamant that he never would do something like this. Absolutely not. I argued with him over it, and he absolutely said this: I'm looking for the footage because I want the evidence of just how against, folks, just how much he was against doing something like this. And he is, Rosie, he's not like you. He is not one to just take risks or unnecessary risks or just to
he's
go
smart,
on.
I know.
Yeah, he's a sharp cookie. He is. Just to do it for the adventure of it, that's not in his nature. Right. So for him to come around says a whole lot about what something like this can do to somebody, including maybe one Amy J. Robach, who might end up on board at some point. It looks like we did lose our picture.
TJ, no one's asked you. No one's asked you. Would you go up? Would you go up in space?
What's usually my response to a question like that? I'll go if Robach goes.
A big team launch.
Oh no.
A big team launch.
Let's not start something here, TJ.
Let's not do so. But we're expecting to hear from the entire crew, everyone here in just a little while. And it's just been an incredible day, another history-making day, a momentous day, as we've seen this third now. They've had 19 of these, but this is only the third crewed mission of this New Shepard rocket. Again, those first few, they had a number of test flights. They had one in which a mannequin by the name of Skywalker actually went up in, but they've only done 3 of the crewed missions, and this is one of them. This is a part of our space history here, you all. We continue on, and Gio, like you said, they want to at some point one day, they want to make it to the moon. They want to get there, but this is how these steps go. It's slow, it's incremental. But Gio, if we can see them pull this off, I don't know how long it might be, but I can imagine them heading to the moon.
And that's the plan, and that really is the plan. And all of the different space agencies and the space companies, they're looking at that to see how far they can go. Of course, Elon Musk has said that he wants to eventually get to Mars, so that's an entirely different and obviously much farther distance that they have to travel.
It's not 11 minutes.
It's not 11 minutes. More like 6 months. More like 6 months just to get there.
Well, for you two, it's been an absolute pleasure to watch it with you all. Thank you all so much. So to our viewers here, for Gio Benitez, for Amy Robach, TJ Holmes here, all of us here at ABC News, we thank you for joining us. We're going to head back to regular programming. And don't forget, World News Tonight, they will have the in-flight video, of course, the zero-G, the floating around from inside the capsule. And we'll hear more from Stray and crew. Also, later tonight, a primetime special, Michael Strahan's Liftoff to Space, will stream at 8 p.m. Eastern on our streaming platform, ABC News Live, and then available on Hulu for all of us here. Thank you so much for spending what has really been an incredible morning here with us. Stray is back on the ground. Astronaut Strahan. We'll see. 2, 1.
Mission Control has confirmed New Shepard has cleared the tower.
And there we go. The drone's lifting out the main parachutes. So keep in mind here, there we go. Retro thrust and touchdown. All right, that is
Cheering all around from the crew. And Michael Strahan is out of the capsule. Big hug for our founder.
This
Jeff
has been a
Bezos.
special report from ABC News.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.